Hello my friends and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Chucky episode 7. There's an awful lot to talk about, so let's get started. So, after the maternal murder fest that was last week's episode, we start this week at Bree's funeral. Mayor Michelle is predictably callous at the funeral and eager to get away. The gang are all there and they try to make a plan to deal with Chucky. Devon is defeated by the loss of his mum, and Junior attacks Jake at the funeral, blaming him for the recent rash of deaths. Tiff/Tilly arrives at the funeral, looking drop-dead gorgeous, all in black. She approaches Logan, tells him she's sorry for his loss, kisses him, and then leaves, much to the confusion of everybody in attendance. Today's episode logo is made up of gravestones, hammering home the idea that Chucky has got a lot of kills under his belt at this point in the series. We then return to 1988 Chicago. Tiff and Charles move into a new apartment together. They christen their new place by screwing, smoking a joint, ordering a pizza, and then killing the pizza delivery guy. Classic, a perfect way to break in a new place. Andy Barclay and Kyle stop in a gas station, and we see a bit more of their friendship, which is good, because I want to see what happens between the two of them. But although they are quite playful with each other, Andy leaves Kyle behind, and it makes me wonder if maybe he did that to protect her, or what reasoning he had for that. That seems like the most obvious conclusion, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments as to why Andy left Kyle at the gas station. Caroline and Lexi tear the heads off Caroline's dolls in an effort to protect them from being possessed. I like their thinking there. Initially, Caroline resists, but then she starts to giggle and enjoys the destruction. Has Chucky managed to influence her mind already at this point? Later on in the episode, we will see. Devon is understandably still feeling pretty destroyed by the loss of his mother, and he is dismantling his room and his pinboard of Chucky-related memorabilia. Jake opens up to Devon about his feelings, but it's still too painful for Devon because he still associates Jake with his mother's death, so Jake leaves. Junior questions his dad about Tiff/Tilly, but Lucas is distant and leaves the house. Junior approaches Chucky, who is sat on the counter, but before we can find out what happens next, we cut to the mayor's press conference. She's reassuring the media that they have a suspect in custody. We can only assume that that's Rachel Fairchild, the science teacher. I'm interested to find out what is her fate. She also announces a matinee performance of Frankenstein to cheer up the town, which is an interesting choice, and she says there will be a special celebrity guest. Could it perhaps be a new resident of the town, Miss Jennifer Tilly? At the press conference, as it's ending, a reporter asks Caroline a question, and Caroline tells them that Chucky told her to kill Mummy. Lexi confronts Caroline, and Caroline tells her that Chucky wants Caroline to kill her whole family. So clearly, Chucky has indeed got in Caroline's head at this point. As an unsteady Lucas returns home, Junior and Chucky discuss killing Lucas. Junior seems unfazed that Chucky is alive, which is a little bit weird, but he's clearly unraveling at this point. As I speculated earlier in the series, it looks like Junior might become a killer after all. Jake decides to run away and he steals money from Lucas, who is passed out on the couch, but Junior does not see any of this. Heading back to Chicago in 1988, Tiff returns home with meatballs to discover that Chucky has killed someone without her. She's very upset, and she has a great line here, which is, "When's the last time you took me out for a dinner and a murder?" Chucky is naturally unapologetic. Returning to modern times, Tiff/Tilly brings meatballs to Junior's house and claims that they are his dad's favourite, which is interesting because that's what she said about the meatballs in the flashback. When Junior says he knows Tiff/Tilly, she replies, "Aren't you a little young to have seen Bound?" Now, for those of you who do not know, Bound is a steamy lesbian action movie directed by the Wachowski brothers, who I'm sure most of you will be familiar with their work with The Matrix, of course, amongst other things, but The Matrix is pretty much their most famous piece of cinema. I saw Bound years ago, And it's a solid, if slightly sordid movie, and Joe Pantoliano, who some of you may know from The Sopranos and The Matrix, is also in it. Give it a watch if you have a thing for Jennifer Tilly, just trust me, it'll be worth your time in that regard alone. Now, despite being an expert on serial killers, Devon searches for Charles Lee Ray's old house and decides to investigate it alone, and doesn't tell anybody. Not the smartest move. He discovers a bound and gagged Nika/Chucky, but then we cut to the bus station where Jake is pursuing a delivery man who is carrying a good guy doll. He buys the doll off the delivery man with Lucas's money and demands to know where it's going to be delivered. After a little while, the delivery guy tells him and then leaves, and then Jake attacks the Billy good guy doll. Devon discovers Nika/Chucky in Charles Lee Ray's house and unties her. Unfortunately, Chucky is in control and takes the taser from Devon's bag. The taser illuminates Nika's face when she reveals Chucky is in control, and it's really a phenomenal shot. Jake brings the Billy doll to Lexi's house. Lexi's parents are conveniently out at the hotel plaza trying to repair their marriage. They discover through tracking Devon's social media story that he is at Charles Lee Ray's house. They put together the address and his location and work out where he's going to be. That's also where the good guy doll Billy was due to be delivered, you see. We then return to Charles Lee Ray's house to see Devon tied up. Meanwhile, Logan is drunk, stumbling around his house. Junior and Chucky confront Lucas, who is understandably shocked that Chucky can talk and responds to his questions. Lucas calls Junior's mum a quitter for committing suicide and also calls Junior a quitter, which just sends Junior over the edge completely. In a first for the series, Chucky is used as a weapon instead of wielding a weapon, and Junior beats his dad to death with the doll. Another Chucky doll awakens in this sequence. It's the Billy doll in the kitchen of Lexi's house. In the final scenes, Lexi and Jake ponder why Chucky is trying to seduce the kids into committing murder, which turns out to be quite an important plot point. We return to Charles Lee Ray's house and see a whole line of Chucky dolls all awaken at the same time. It's an incredibly creepy shot. Could it be that getting someone to commit murder is the catalyst that Chucky needs to split his soul into more dolls? Is that how he split his soul in the first place? Through killing? Kind of like the Voldemort Horcrux thing I was discussing last week. We see Andy Barclay arrive at Junior's house. Finally, he is on location in Hackensack, but that is the end of the episode. Another masterful cliffhanger from the showrunners over at Chucky. It's guaranteed to have me speculating all week as to what happens next. So I hope you have enjoyed my review of Chucky episode 7. If you haven't seen my previous reviews, you'll be able to check those out on the channel. Thank you so much, as always, to my gracious co-hosts, Chucky and Tiffany. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Oh hey, looks like you stuck around right till the end of the video. Thank you so much for supporting my content, I really appreciate it. This channel is still in its infancy at the moment. Over here, you should see a couple more videos that you can enjoy, and there should be a subscribe orb as well. Give that a click for me, you'd really make my day. Thanks for watching.